We've been sold the idea that self-love is all about face masks, positive affirmations in the mirror, and journaling. And while all of that can be helpful, there is one thing that hardly gets spoken about in relation to self-love that is probably the most important one and crucial to have a good relationship with yourself, and that is discipline. Because often the most self-loving thing you can do is not going the easiest, most comfortable way, but keeping a promise you made to yourself. Having boundaries, sticking to what you said you were going to do. That is the purest form of self-love. Hello everyone, my name is Em and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be breaking down how self-love and discipline actually work together and not against each other, and how you can step into both of them to become the best version of yourself. Here's as always the video structure, and with that, let's get right into it. Self-love and discipline. Two words that we hear all the time, all over the internet, but hardly ever in the same sentence. And honestly, I believe that is a big mistake. Because self-love isn't just treating yourself and going the easiest way and having face masks and bubble baths and saying nice words every morning. It is that. It can be helpful. But self-love is so much more than that. It's knowing your worth and choosing to protect it and sticking to your boundaries and being able to say no and being able to stick to what you promised yourself. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to keep yourself accountable. And that's where discipline comes in. Often we have the picture that discipline means being hard on ourselves and punishing ourselves to get to our goals, but that's not it. It's not only about being hard on yourself and punishing yourself. It's about being there for yourself, showing up for yourself and showing up for your goals, showing up for your future, showing up for your boundaries, showing up for your time, for your peace, for your value, for your worth as a person. That is what discipline is about. It's about being there for yourself. It's choosing what's best for yourself, for your future, for you as a person, even when you don't feel like it. When you're a disciplined person, you don't stick up and show up for yourself because you want to punish yourself, because you're being hard on yourself. It's because you want to show up for yourself and to be there for yourself, be there for your values, for what's important to you. You stay consistent because you love yourself enough to not quit. That's what it comes down to, is being there and showing up for yourself, for your values, and loving yourself enough not to quit. But can you be disciplined without self-love, and can self-love work without discipline? Self-love without discipline, you'll stay stuck. Too much discipline with no self-love, you'll keep punishing yourself and being way too hard on yourself. But when you bring them together, that's when you become that best person and the best version of yourself. That's where the real growth happens. Because you can finally start showing up, not because of guilt, not because of pressure, not because you feel like you have to punish yourself, but because you love yourself, you show up from love, from commitment and belief in who you are becoming. You show up for yourself because you believe in yourself, because you know that you deserve to achieve your goals. You show up and you have boundaries, and you're able to say no because you know your worth, because you want to protect your peace and you want to protect your value and your time and your freedom as a person. That's true self-love, and that's why you need the discipline. Self-love is the reason and discipline is the action. If you put those two together, you become unstoppable. You become the best version of yourself. Self-love gives you the reason of why you're showing up, of why you're sticking to your boundaries, of why you stick to what you said you were going to do. And discipline is the action. Discipline is, I love myself, and that's why I'm going to show up for myself. I love myself, and that's why I have boundaries, and I'm able to say no to other people because I love myself, because I know my value. I know that my time and my energy are valuable. Self-love is the why, and discipline is the how. When you get up early to work on your goals, or when you get rid of those distractions and put your phone away and stop scrolling endlessly, that is discipline. That is showing up for yourself. Your goals should be important enough for you to get up in the morning and work on them. Your goals should be your time should be important enough to you to stop scrolling and have the discipline, even if it feels uncomfortable in the moment. Getting up in the morning and not hitting the snooze button is uncomfortable. Everyone wants to stay and lie in bed longer. Everyone wants to keep scrolling because it's comfortable. But you stop doing it, and you get up in the morning and you stop scrolling, not because you want to punish yourself, not because you're trying to be hard on yourself, but because you value your goals and your dreams enough, and because you value your time that you have as a person enough to say no and to make a decision that might be uncomfortable, but you know it's for your own good. And it's you make that decision out of love and not out of hatred and not out of punishment towards yourself. Discipline is a form of showing up for yourself. It's the biggest expression, I believe, of self-love, because you show up for yourself even when it's boring, even when it's challenging, even when it's hard. You still show up for yourself. And that is how you can build trust in yourself, and trust is crucial for self-love. For example, if you arrange with a friend to meet up for lunch, and that friend calls you like 5 minutes before and says, hey, I can't come, I don't feel like it, and I didn't feel like getting up, and I don't feel like stop scrolling, so I'm not ready yet, and I can't come to lunch. you'll be disappointed in that friend. You'll be very disappointed. And if that behavior, if that pattern repeats, you'll lose trust in that friend, and you don't want to hang around with that friend because you keep getting disappointed. And the same with you. If you aren't able to stick to what you said, and if you keep breaking those promises that you made to yourself, you'll eventually lose the trust in your own words and in what you promised yourself. You think, okay, my words don't mean anything anymore. My words have lost their weight. When I say something, it doesn't really mean anything anymore because I never stick to it anyway. And that is not, as you can imagine, not a good foundation to have a good relationship with yourself. And now let's talk about boundaries. If you say yes to everything and everyone, you'll get overwhelmed so quickly and it'll drain you, and you'll lose yourself as a person. You won't know who you really are anymore because you never just say yes to everything. By saying yes to everything and everyone, you'll get overwhelmed and you'll start losing yourself. You are allowed to say no. You're allowed to log off. You're allowed to protect your time, your energy, your mental clarity, your mental well-being. And not just when you get overwhelmed, but as a standard. It's your right as a person. Actually, it's your job to look after yourself, after your time, after your peace, after your energy. It's your job. You're supposed to do that. It's nobody else's job but your own to look after yourself. So you are supposed to say no. You're supposed to log off. You're supposed to take care of yourself, of your time, of your energy, of your worth, of your mental well-being. It's your job. You're supposed to do it. And I want you to think of your boundaries not as walls to shut other people out, but as doors that you can select and protect. And you get to choose who comes in and who doesn't. And when you go out and meet other people, that's something that you get to choose. It's not a wall that is completely no to everyone and everything. That's not what it is. Boundaries are doors. And you get to choose who comes in. Because you are in control of that. Because you love yourself enough to be intentional about what you allow and what you don't allow. And boundaries aren't selfish. If you don't have boundaries and you just say yes to everything and everyone, your energy will be drained, and that will drain on other people. So if you have boundaries and you make sure that your own cup is full, then other people will also profit from it. It'll be nicer to be around you because you're not constantly drained, because you are able to say no and you're able to say yes, and you have control over that. And you have enough energy whilst you're around other people. So important for yourself, but it's also important, but it also helps other people because you'll have a lot more energy while you are around them. Because so you all have a much better time. So there is nothing, literally nothing selfish about having boundaries. And I'd like to share a few examples of discipline in real life. Going to the gym, working out, working on your goals, chasing your dreams. That is having the discipline to do that consistently every single day. That is the biggest form of self-love, because you know that is something that is important to you. Your goals are something you set yourself. Those are your values. That's what you dream about. That's what you want in your life. That's what you want for yourself. And having the discipline to work on that, do that consistently for yourself, working on those goals, working on yourself, for yourself, by yourself, for yourself, is literally the best thing and the most self-loving thing you can do, because you keep showing up. You keep putting in effort and time into what is important to you. And if you ever did something for your future self, even when it was uncomfortable, even when it was hard, but you still showed up for yourself, that is true love. If you've ever said no because you knew you didn't have the energy, you didn't have the time, you weren't feeling like it, and it was too much for you, that is also true self-love. And now, let's move on to the actual actionable steps on what you can do to implement more self-love and more discipline into your life. And the first point is start with small steps, actionable steps that you can build the self-trust. Do small things to get closer to your goals. Do small things to start setting boundaries and sticking to those boundaries. Show yourself that you can rely on yourself. So that's how you can start building self-trust in yourself. By making small wins, by showing up consistently in small steps, small actionable steps, you're getting there slowly, but you can still see those small wins that you keep constantly making. That is how you also start building self-love, because you show yourself that you can rely on yourself and that your words have weight and they carry weight and they mean something. Second thing, don't rely on motivation. Rely on discipline. Rely on that. If you say, I'm going to work out on these and these and these days, I'm going to work on my goals on these days, do it. Show yourself that you are disciplined, that your goals, that your words, that what you want for your future life is important enough to you to not have to be comfortable all the time, to be able to be in an uncomfortable state sometimes, and going and doing something that you don't feel like doing, and it's not the easiest thing, it feels hard, but you still are able to shout for yourself because you know it's important enough to you. Third thing, track growth over perfection. At the end of each day, think, what did you do today? How were you showing up for yourself? What went really well? Even on days where you think, I messed up this, I failed in this test, this didn't work out today, I was just staying inside, I did this and this wrong and I feel bad because of that, and that didn't work out and this didn't work out. What did work out? Where did you show up for yourself this week, this day? what did work out and show yourself that you are growing. It's not about being perfect every single day. It's about becoming 1% better every single day, and reminding yourself of how far you've already come plays such a big role and makes such a difference already. Fourth thing is, how would I treat a friend? You respect your friend's boundaries. You respect your friend time and energy. You need to respect your own time and your own energy. The fifth thing is, how would a person act that really truly loves themselves and that is truly disciplined? Would a person would that kind of person snooze their alarms in the morning? Would that kind of person skip their alarm, skip their workout because they don't feel like it? Would that kind of person say yes to everything and everyone because they want people to like them? And just think, how would that kind of person act? And just act the same way. How would that person act? And act the same. And the last point, create boundaries as a form of self-love, not as a form of punishment. Don't be disciplined because you want to punish yourself, because you want to be hard on yourself. Be disciplined because you love yourself. Do it out of self-love, out of self-respect, because you respect your time, because you respect your energy, because you respect yourself as a person. If you say no, and if you don't feel like it, that is reason enough to say no. That is reason enough to say no. And that brings me to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I could help you a bit with this video. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know down below in the comments what other topics you'd like me to talk about, and I'd say thank you so much for watching. If you liked today's video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to not miss out on any more videos. And with that, I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!